You die. You try to escape, you die. You otherwise irritate or vex me, and guess what? You die.
I'm known to be quite vexing. I'm just forewarning you.
Lady, shut up!
Just might be the most highly anticipated movie of the summer. Finally in theaters, Suicide Squad from the folks at DC Comics. Film critic Richard Krause is here in studio. I'm almost afraid to ask.
You know what? This has taken a knocking on social media and in the reviews so far, and it's not as bad as people are saying. The first 20 minutes to 40 minutes is actually kind of great. So the idea behind the Suicide Squad is set up then. So you've got the government who says, listen, we have to put together a team of people that can fight against the very worst in the universe. And how do you do that? Our traditional methods just simply aren't working. So they look to death row and they find the world's deadliest sniper, Deadpool, played by Will Smith. They find a woman who is just a little bit off her rocker named Harley Quinn, who likes to beat people to death with a baseball bat. I'm not sure what makes her a superhero, but she's in there. And there's a number of them. Killer Croc, there's Captain Boomerang, and they're a talented group that bring a very specific set of skills to this job. And they're taken off death row, and in exchange for clemency, they are, set forth to create some mayhem and fix the world's troubles. That stuff, the setting up of that is pretty great. You get a lot of interesting music cues when you've got a sort of classic rock song that introduces each of these characters. You find out their backstories, all that stuff. And then the action starts, and that's where this movie starts to fall apart. It becomes just sort of an orgy of CGI, of computer-generated images that often are so dark it's hard to tell who's fighting who, exactly what's going on in the scene, and it goes on for quite some time. And then, as the movie goes on, the characters become just slightly less interesting than they were at the beginning in this great 20-minute opening. You have the worst, as they say, the worst of the worst people on the planet, and they actually seem like they're okay. I mean, they're doing some government-sanctioned carnage, but they actually seem like they're okay. They're not the monsters that they are portrayed as. And I wanted just a bit more edge. The director, David Ayers here, had a chance to really push the envelope, make something different, much like Deadpool did, earlier this summer. And instead, he seems to be trying to echo the very movies that this movie should be an antidote to.
For the folks at DC who got slammed for Batman versus Superman, what does this mean? You gave it 2 stars.
I gave it 2 stars. The tone of this one is much different than Batman versus Superman. That, I think, was kind of done in by a very self-important, kind of very serious, dark tone. And this certainly has that, but there's laughs all the way through. So it's not quite as dire as Batman versus Superman tone-wise. So, I mean, we'll see. This is going to have a huge opening weekend. People are going to go see this, but I think, like Batman versus Superman, I have a feeling that will taper off rather quickly.
You also have another film, Indignation.
Indignation is, this is the very essence of counter-programming, right? So if you don't want to see something called Suicide Squad, maybe you want something that's a little bit different. This movie is based on a Philip Roth novel about a young Jewish man who goes to a very waspy school in about 1951. He avoids going to Korea to fight because he's a genius and is accepted into this school, and he puts his head down and he just wants to work, but he's distracted by a very beautiful woman played by Sarah Gadon, and they have one date, and then something happens on this date that changes his perception of her. And I'm not going to tell you anything more than that. It's an interesting look at a coming-of-age story. It's an interesting look at this relationship story and how love can come in kind of unexpected places. The centerpiece of this movie is an 18-minute scene, though, between the young man, played by Logan Lerman, and the dean of the school, played by Tracy Letts. It is, and I know it's 18 minutes because I've been reading about the filming of this scene, and it is the reason to see this movie. You could pluck that scene out of the film and turn it into a short film, and it would be very satisfying. Beautifully acted, wonderfully shot, and amazingly directed. So the story is You know, some people say, well, it's a bit of style over substance. It isn't, I don't think. It's a very stylish movie. It has substance. What it is character over plot. It's more concerned with presenting these richly drawn characters than it is about really forwarding the story. That's okay by me when the characters are this interesting. And that 18 minutes is worth the price of admission alone.
How many stars?
3 for this one.
3 stars for Indignation. Great to have you on, Richard.
Thanks,
All the
Tom.
best. Have a good weekend.
You too.